Okay, now we are going to comment on the latest articles that are being published about PHP and related topics in the PHP classes blog. Arturs, which ones would you like to comment? There are like 5 articles split in 2 parts.
Yeah. Well, first one I would comment. Oh, let me share the screen. Yeah, I already forgot. Yeah. So this is probably one of the most interesting articles I've seen on PHP blog site, and it's about how to create a PHP C extension. And as example, it uses provides like a way to manipulate arrays. Article was written by Dmitry Mamontov, and I thought for a long some time to already to try maybe to understand how you could write an extension to PHP, and this what article really helps to do it. It explains the basics, even how to build a source, as we talked in the podcast. And so you could use a skeleton for extension to get some boilerplate code and modify it, and it explains a lot about the functions and the data types, how to use, and really it's informative in that way. So if you are really want to develop an C extension for PHP someday, you should really check both these articles out.
Yeah, this one is it's not just any extension; it's rather an extension to work as a class.
Yeah.
So there's a second part. The second part is just how to add the interfaces to the class to make it act as an array. So that is very complete article.
Yeah, I really not need to dive into it. Unfortunately, I mostly moved from PHP now, but still, it was quite interesting. Next article is about how to make better use of PHP code using traits, and it was written by Dave Smith. And traits is something that was introduced in PHP 5.4, I think, and it's a way for classes to reuse the same functions. So as shown in example, you define a trait here and you use it in the class, and your class will have actions to these trait functions. And as discussed for one of the Innovation Awards packages, there are some interesting usages for it, like extending a pluginable system and stuff like that. So, and Dave jumps into and explains traits thoroughly. Here's an example how to use multiple traits in one class and stuff like that. And there is also the second part. So, like when you have conflicting traits and how to deal with that. Yeah. So if you don't know really what trait is or want to learn how to use them properly, these both articles would be a great way to start understanding them.
Yeah, there is a trend of many new traits, not just a pluggable interface with using traits, but things like implementing the singleton design pattern as a trait. So we don't everywhere need a singleton. You don't need to rewrite the same code again.
Yeah, that's really a nice addition, but it was implemented some time already, and only now I see that really there is a trend of this feature to be used. So I think that's one of the features that you didn't know you needed, something like that. Another article I wanted to mention is the benefits of using Git in your software projects by Nicola Pietrolongo. And this article really explains the basics of the Git, and Git is really complex. This article is more of from a command line approach that if you really read this all, you would need basically know all the mechanics about the Git. I usually use just some UI like source tree, and that's okay for me because switching between many version systems, it's hard to remember all the commands for the one. And the second article more discusses the like design, like patterns, what to use, especially Git flow, and also the websites where to use, like GitHub and Bitbuckets. So if you are new to Git and want to start using it in your projects, you should read both of these articles.
Right. Well, on my behalf, I would like also to comment a few articles here. And let me just pick on the right part. Okay, sharing the screen here. So the first article I want to mention is very interesting because it is about a package called PHP Sentiment Analyzer that can do something that seems to be magic. It's like analyzing the text and determining if the user that wrote the text is expressing a positive or a negative sentiment. And the author, Samuel Adesina from Nigeria, did a great job because he explained, gave an overview of the algorithm that he uses to analyze the text, but you don't need to actually understand the algorithm because it provides a class for that purpose, and he even presents some code in the first part of the article. And in the second part, he actually presents a simple example because the usage of the class is really simple. There are basically two phases: one for training the algorithm, like give him some test phrases and tell it if they are positive, expressing positive or negative sentiments. And then there is the analyze sentence method that can analyze a sentence and give a score to determine if the phrase expresses a negative or positive sentiment. Then there is a more elaborated function that analyzes the whole document with multiple phrases. So this is a really great article based on a great package that was even nominated for the Innovation Award. Now, the next package that I wanted the next article to comment is about a package by Dan 10 that is called PHP sweepstakes. Basically, it can calculate periodical events. Well, usually periodical events are spaced fixed by a fixed amount of time, but in some cases it can get complex. For instance, in the case when there are holidays, you probably need to know the holidays and skip the holidays. And if the event, for instance, takes multiple days, it gets more complex because you need to figure if there are holidays in the middle, and then explains how this package PHP sweepstakes works. And also mention a few problems like time wrap for events that can span multiple days, and you need to deal with also times. In the second part, it's basically how to apply the package with in a real world problem with some dates and some values that you can apply and call the class and solve that problem. And I think it was a really interesting package to talk about. Okay, now we are going to talk about reviews about books released recently. Arturs, which books would you like to comment?
Well, as I may say, converted Node.js developer.
Oh, you're a traitor.
No, well, I still use PHP in some projects, but I kind of grown to like Node.js, and that's why I wanted to comment about Node.js for PHP developers. Actually, the book that I would need to read when I started, but it's probably not too late. I can read it also now. But author is Daniel Howard, and book is actually quite old, published in 2012. And it's about explaining Node.js to PHP developers. And Samuel Adesina provided a review for this. And from personal perspective, I would say there is really not much in common. And I'm actually quite interested what did the author find in common between them and how he explains different concepts. But well, we all know the major differences, which are asynchronous operations, but also the modular system is not like included in PHP, and also requests are more role typed, not like PHP. So there are lots of things you would need to learn about Node.js to understand it. And if you are converting from PHP to Node.js or simply are interested in it, this book would be a great addition that would help you understand it. So, Manuel, are you ready to convert to Node.js?
Well, I have already tried Node.js until Node.js has the requires me to deal with the callback hell. But there's hope. There's hope that Node.js 4 that is being released now will implement the await and the sync operators.
Actually, I already saw the release on their website yesterday. I think they released yesterday. So you can try it.
Yes, it was scheduled for this month. Okay, on my behalf, I would like to also mention a couple of books, book reviews. Sharing the screen here. Starting with this Learning PHP, MySQL, JavaScript with jQuery, CSS, and HTML5. I think this is a newer edition of an old book that nowadays includes things like jQuery, HTML5, operator APIs, I mean. And this review done by Jose Gomez basically covers what the book is about. He mentioned that.
Yeah, that actually seems like a great stack to learn for a new web developer.
Yeah. Well, the Jose just mentioned that that the book is fine, but he probably would rather see it cover PDO instead of MySQL. Although most people just use MySQL. And they also have some comments about mentioning jQuery, but then not using it in the examples of the book, which is a bit odd. But well, I suppose there will be a lot of future revisions of this book, and probably we will get it right next time. And finally, I would like to comment about a review of the Laravel 5 Essentials, which is a book by Martin Bean, published by Pact. And it was reviewed by Lopo Lencastre de Almeida, and he actually liked the book a lot. I think he's very interested in Laravel. Although this is basically a book about Laravel 5, what it covers compared with the previous version. So for this book, he also liked it a lot. So he is recommending.